Question 1. 979 plus 100. So we have 900s, we're adding 100, so in our answer we'll have 10 hundreds, which is the same as 1000 and 0 hundreds. And of course, the 79 stays the same because we aren't adding any tens or units. So our answer is 1079. Now with these early questions, it's really important to use mental methods where we can, because using the column method for questions like this will really slow us down. Question 2. 123 times 2. Now here we can see that there isn't going to be any exchanging, so our answer is 246, because we can just multiply each digit by 2. You could use the column method, but for these early questions, try to do as much mentally as you can. Question 3. 6.1 plus 0.3. So we have 1/10 and we're adding 3/10, so in our answer we need 4/10, and of course the 6 stays the same. Question 4. 24 times 3. We can set this out as a column multiplication. 4 times 3 is 12, so 1, 2. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7, so our answer is 72. Question 5. 1034 plus 586. We can set this out as a column addition. 4 plus 6 is 10, so 1, 0. 1 plus 3 plus 8 is 12, so 1, 2. 1 plus 0 plus 5 is 6, and 1 plus nothing is 1. So our answer is 1620. Question 6. 48 divided by 6. Well, we should know our times table facts up to 12 times 12, and if we know that 8 times 6 is 48, we know that 48 divided by 6 must be 8. Question 7. 472 minus 9. The easiest way to subtract 9 is to use adjusting, to subtract 10 and then add 1. If we subtract 10, we get 462, but subtracting 10 means we've subtracted 1 too many, so we need to adjust by adding 1 to what we got, and that gives us our answer of 463. The other way to subtract a single-digit number is to subtract so you get to the previous multiple of 10, so subtracting 2 gets us to 470. Then, if we've subtracted 2 and we need to subtract 9, we need to subtract 7 more, and that gets us our answer. Question 8. 2.5 plus 0.05. In the number 2.5, we have units and tenths, but in the number we're adding, we don't have any units or tenths, only hundredths. So our answer is 2.55. This question is about recognizing decimal place value, but if you're unsure, you could write it out as a column addition, making sure that you have your decimal points lined up, because if your decimal points are lined up, all of your other place values will be lined up as well. Then you can write 0 in your empty place value column, remember the decimal point in your answer, and then add as normal to get your answer. Question 9. 5 times 4 times 7. You can multiply numbers in any order, but if we start with 5 times 4, we get 20, and then we need to multiply that 20 by the last number in our question, so we need to work out 20 times 7. That gives us 140, because 2 times 7 is 14, and if we have one end zero in the question, we need one end zero in the answer as well. So 5 times 4 times 7 is 140. Question 10. 4/5 minus 1/5. We can see that we already have a common denominator of 5, so the denominator in our answer stays the same. And then we can just subtract the numerators, and 4 minus 1 is 3. So our answer is 3/5. Question 11. 630 divided by 9. If we know that 63 divided by 9 is 7, because 7 times 9 is 63, then we know that our answer must be 70, because 63 divided by 9 is 7, and if we have one end zero in our dividend, we need one end zero in our answer. You could also set it out as a short division, but to save time, if you see a division with 0 at the end, remember that it might be quicker to use mental methods. Question 12. 1.28 times 100. So the easiest way to multiply by 100 is to write out your number, then copy down the decimal point underneath. Now, because 100 has 2 zeros on the end, we need to move the digits 2 places, and because we're multiplying, the digits move 2 places to the left. So we can write the digits 128 2 squares across. Now we can see that the decimal point is at the end of our number, and if we have a decimal point at the end and no digits after it, we have a whole number. So our answer is 128. The other way to think about multiplying by 100 is to imagine the decimal point moving. So if we move the decimal point 2 places, we can see that it's now at the end of our number, so we get the same answer. Question 13. 4 squared. We need to remember that the little 2 means multiply the number by itself. So what they're really asking us here is 4 times 4, which is 16. Question 14. 50,000 minus 500. So here, if we look at the hundreds columns, we have 0 hundreds and we're subtracting 5 hundreds. Now we can't do 0 take away 5, so it might be tempting here to use column subtraction. But what we can do instead is look to the left. We still only have zeros, so if we look to the left again, we can see that our answer will be 500 take away 5 followed by 2 zeros. So we have 49,500, because 500 take away 5 is 495, and then we need the zeros that we started with in our tens and units columns. Question 15. 100 times 100. Our answer is 10,000, because to multiply by 100, we put 2 end zeros on the end of a number. So in our answer, we have the 100 we started with, followed by 2 more end zeros. There is another way of thinking about this question. If we look at these end zeros as well, we can see that we have 4 end zeros, so we can do 1 times 1, which is of course 1, and then put 4 end zeros in the answer. Question 16. 1,440 divided by 12. Well, we should know that 12 times 12 is 144. So 144 divided by 12 is 12. That means our answer will be 120, because if we have one end zero in the dividend, we need one end zero in the answer. When you see a division with a zero on the end, that's usually a clue that you can use mental methods to solve it. But if you're unsure, you can always check using short division. 14 divided by 12 is 1 remainder 2. 24 divided by 12 is 2. And 0 divided by 12 is 0. Question 17. Find 20% of 1,500. So remember that a percentage is just a fraction over 100. So to find 20%, we can find 20 hundredths of a number. So when finding a fraction of a number, we start by dividing by the denominator, and 1,500 divided by 100 is 15, because we can cancel the zeros and do 15 divided by 1. Then we multiply by the numerator, so we need to work out 15 times 20. That's 300, because 15 times 2 is 30, and then if we have one end zero in the question, we need one end zero in the answer after the 30 we got from multiplying 15 by 2. So 20% of 1,500 is 300. A quicker method might have been to realise that we'll get the same answer with any fraction equivalent to 20 hundredths, and we can simplify that to 1/5 by dividing both the numerator and the denominator by 20. Then to find our answer, we just need to divide by 5. Question 18. 1.52 times 6. We can set this out as a column multiplication, and we need to remember that if there are 2 decimal places in the question, there will be 2 decimal places in the answer. So we can write our decimal point straight away so that we don't forget. Now 2 times 6 is 12, so 1, 2. 5 times 6 is 30, plus 1 is 31, so 3, 1. And 1 times 6 is 6, plus 3 is 9. So our answer is 9.12. Question 19. 1/9 plus 4/9. We can see that we have a common denominator of 9 in the question, so the denominator will be 9 in our answer as well. Now we can just add the numerators, and 1 plus 4 is 5, so our answer is 5/9. Question 20. 5,756 plus 8,643. So we need to set this out as a column addition. 6 plus 3 is 9, 5 plus 4 is 9, 7 plus 6 is 13, so 1, 3, and 1 plus 5 plus 8 is 14. So our answer is 14,399. Question 21. 7,505 divided by 5. We can set this out as a short division. 7 divided by 5 is 1 remainder 2. 25 divided by 5 is 5. 0 divided by 5 is 0. And 5 divided by 5 is 1. So our answer is 1,501. Question 22. 12 minus 6.01. So we can solve this mentally by subtracting 6 from 12 to get 6, and then subtracting another 0.01. Now, if you're not sure how to do this, remember that we can think of 6 as being 6.00. So if we have 6.00 minus 0.01, we get 5.99, so that's our answer. But if we're unsure, we can always use column subtraction, making sure that our place values are lined up, and then writing 0.00 on the end of our whole number. We need the decimal point in our answer, but now we can't do 0 minus 1, and we can't exchange with the next place value column along. So first, we exchange one of our units for 10 tenths, then we exchange one of our tenths for 10 hundredths. Now, 10 minus 1 is 9, 9 minus 0 is 9, and 11 minus 6 is 5. So we have our answer. Question 23. 54 times 23. 4 times 3 is 12, so 1, 2. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 1 is 16. Now we can cross out our working, write a 0, and now 4 times 2 is 8, and 5 times 2 is 10. So let's add up our answer lines. 2 plus 0 is 2. 6 plus 8 is 14, so 1, 4. 1 plus 1 plus 0 is 2, and nothing plus 1 is 1. So our answer is 1242. Question 24. 15.4 minus 8.88. We can set this out as a column subtraction, making sure that our decimal points are lined up, writing a 0 in our empty place value column, and then copying the decimal point down into our answer line. We can't do 0 take away 8, so we exchange, and 10 minus 8 is 2. Now we can't do 3 minus 8, so we exchange, and 13 minus 8 is 5. Now 14 minus 8 is 6, so our answer is 6.52. Question 25. 3016 divided by 13. So here we need to work out our 13 times table. 13 is 1 times 13. If we add another 13, we get 26, so that's 2 times 13. If we add another 13, we get 39, so that's 3 times 13. We could stop here, because we can see that with the first 2 digits in our dividend, we have 30, but I find it useful to go up to 5 times, and I'll explain why in a moment. If we add another 13, 9 plus 3 is 12, so 1, 2, and I've written the 1 in red only so that it's easier to see, and now 1 plus 3 plus 1 is 5. So 52 is 4 times 13, and if we add another 13, we get 65, so that's 5 times. And remember, 5 times any number will always end in a 5 or 0, and because it ends in a 5, we can be sure that we haven't made any mistakes. Another way of checking is that 5 times should be half of 10 times, and because it's easy to work out that 10 times 13 is 130, and 65 is half of 130, Again, we know that we've worked this out correctly. So now, if we take the first two digits together, we have 30 divided by 13. We can see that 2 times 13 is 26, and 3 times 13 is 39, but that's too many. So we need 26 under the 30, and because that's 2 times, we need 2 in our answer line. Now we subtract, and 30 minus 26 is 4. And if we bring down the 1, we have 41 divided by 13. The closest number which is less than 41 is 39. So we write that under the 41, under the 41, and because 39 is 3 times, we write 3 in our answer. Now 41 minus 39 is 2, and if we bring down the 6, we have 26 divided by 13, which is 2. So our answer is 232. Question 26. 1/4 times 1/8. Multiplying fractions is easy because you can just multiply the numerators, and 1 times 1 is 1, and then you can just multiply the denominators, and 4 times 8 is 32. So our answer is 1/32. Question 27. Find 95% of 240. Remember, a percentage is just a fraction over 100. So we can divide by 100 and then multiply by 95. 240 divided by 100 is 2.4, because remember, to divide by 100, the digits move 2 places to the right. We really have a decimal point at the end of a whole number, and if we copy that down with the digits moved 2 places to the right, we get 2.40. But we can ignore a 0 on the end of a decimal number, so we have 2.4. Now we need to multiply by the numerator, so times by 95. There is 1 decimal place in the question, so to make sure we don't forget, we can write the decimal point in our answer straight away. Now 4 times 5 is 20, so 20. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 2 is 12. Now we can cross out our working, write a 0, and now 4 times 9 is 36, so 36. 2 times 9 is 18, plus 3 is 21. Now, if we add up our answer lines, we get 228.0, which we can just write as 228. Question 28. 234,897 minus 45,996. We can set this out as a column subtraction. 7 minus 6 is 1. 9 minus 9 is 0. We can't do 8 minus 9, so we exchange. 18 minus 9 is 9. We can't do 3 minus 5, so we exchange. And 13 minus 5 is 8. And 22 minus 4 is 18. So our answer is 188,901. Question 29. 678 times 54. 8 times 4 is 32, so 32. 7 times 4 is 28, plus 3 is 31, so 31. 6 times 4 is 24, plus 3 is 27. Now we cross out our working, write a 0, and 8 times 5 is 40, so 4, 0. 7 times 5 is 35, plus 4 is 39, so 3, 9. And 6 times 5 is 30, plus 3 is 33. Now we can add up our answer lines. So 2 plus 0 is 2, 1 plus 0 is 1, 7 plus 9 is 16, so 1, 6, 1 plus 2 plus 3 is 6, and nothing plus 3 is 3. So our answer is 36,612. Question 30. 17 times 1½ So we know that 1 times 17 is 17, and if we add that to 1/2 times 17, we get our answer. So when we multiply a fraction by a whole number, we only multiply the numerator, and 1 times 17 is 17, so we have 17 over 2. We need to change that back into a mixed number, and 17 divided by 2 is 8 remainder 1, and if we keep the denominator the same, we have 8½ So now we know that 1 times 17 is 17, and we know that 1/2 times 17 is 8½ so we just add up our answers. 17 plus 8½. That gives us 25½, so that's our answer. But there is another method for solving questions like this, and that's to change your mixed number to an improper fraction. So we can write 1½ as 3 over 2, and then we can multiply by 17. So we need to work out 3 times 17. 7 times 3 is 21, so 2, 1. And 1 times 3 is 3, plus 2 is 5. So we have 51 over 2. We can change that into a mixed number by dividing. 5 divided by 2 is 2 remainder 1. 11 divided by 2 is 5 remainder 1. So the remainder can be our numerator and the divisor is our denominator. So 51/2 is the same as 25½. So that's our answer. Question 31. 20 minus 4 times 2. So here we have mixed operations. So it's really important that we remember the order of operations. We always deal with brackets first, and then we do multiplication and division before we do addition and subtraction. The way I remember this is that addition and subtraction are easy, and we leave the easy stuff to the end. So here we need to do the multiplication first. 4 times 2 is 8, so we can rewrite our question as 20 minus 8, which is 12. Question 32. 2/5 divided by 2. Dividing fractions is easy as long as we remember that to solve questions like this, we don't actually need to do any division at all. Instead, we take our fraction and multiply the denominator by what we're dividing by. The numerator stays the same. So because 5 times 2 is 10, our answer is 2/10. We could simplify this fraction, but to get the mark we don't need to. So let's move on to the next question. Question 33. 1 1/5 minus 1/4. So when we add or subtract fractions, we need our denominators to be the same. 20 is in both the 5 and 4 times tables, so we can find equivalent fractions for 1/5 and 1/4 with a denominator of 20. 5 times 4 is 20, so 1 times 4 is 4, and 4 times 5 is 20, so 1 times 5 is 5. So we can rewrite our question as 1 and 4/20 minus 5/20. But here, we can't do 4/20 minus 5/20, so we need to exchange our 1 whole for 20 more 20ths. 1 and 4/20 is the same as 24/20, and we can subtract 5/20 from that to get 19/20, so that's our answer. For 2,331 divided by 37, so we need to work out our 37 times table. 37 is 1 times 37. If we add another 37, we get 74, so that's 2 times 37. Adding another 37 gives us 111, so that's 3 times. Now if we stop here and look at the question, taking the first 2 digits we have 23, but that's less than 37, which means we will need to take the first 3 digits together and do 233 divided by 37. So we might spot a shortcut here. We know that 3 times is 111, so we might be able to work out what 6 times 37 is from that. But if we didn't spot that, we could just continue adding 37. We get 148 for 4 times. Then if we add another 37, we get 185 for 5 times. And remember, 5 times always has to end in a 5 or 0, so we can be confident that we haven't made any mistakes so far. If we add another 37, we get 222 for 6 times. And because that's close to 233, we don't really need to work out 7 times. But if we added another 37, we would get 259 for 7 times. Now, because 222 is the closest number that's below 233, we can write 222 under 233, and because that's 6 times, we have a 6 in our answer. 233 minus 222 is 11, so now we can bring down the 1, and we have 111 divided by 37, which we can see is 3. So our answer is 63. Now that took us a long time, but we could have saved time if, as soon as we worked out 3 times, we doubled to find 6 times. If 3 times is 111, we know straight away that 6 times must be 222, and that would have saved us a lot of time, because we didn't need to know 4 times or 5 times to work out the answer. So, for these long division questions, try to find shortcuts, especially if you find that you're running out of time towards the end of the paper. Question 35. 3/4 plus 7/8. To add fractions, we need to get the denominators the same. So 4 times 2 is 8, 3 times 2 is 6, so instead of 3/4, we can write 6/8 plus 7/8. We keep the denominator the same, and 6 plus 7 is 13, So our answer is 13/8. We could change that to a mixed number, but in this paper, we still get the mark for an improper fraction. So let's move on to the next question. Question 36. 3/4 divided by 2. To divide a fraction by a whole number, all we need to do is take the fraction and multiply the denominator by the number we're dividing by. And because 4 times 2 is 8, and our numerator stays the same, we get 3/8 as our answer.